3, 2, 1. Hi everybody, it's Mr. Higgins here and welcome to Project 7 Emo Foods. We are getting to the point that our graphic design and our Photoshop skills should be good enough that we can start to, as opposed to teaching those skills like the magic wand tool or the select tool, we can start doing some more open projects that are focused on your creativity and trying to make some art projects rather than just focus on technical skills. So what we're going to do today, and I want to give a shout out to Miss Haywood for this project idea, is we are going to be doing Emo Foods. So we are going to be making 3 1080 by 1080 images, and they are going to have a piece of food. We are going to be adding human aspects. For the first of the 3, we'll have some requirements, and then for your second and third image, those will be totally open. So it'll be your decision what you want to do. For the first image, what you will need to do is you will need to add a mouth, some kind of mouth, to some kind of fruit or vegetable. So here's some student examples from Ms. Haywood's class, and here are 2 examples that I've done. So the one on the right here is Emo Food number 1. I'm using a mouth. Now I duplicate it. You could have 1 mouth, you could have 100 mouths, it's up to you. I did some layer styles. I did a little outer glow and some free distort, used all those skills to kind of put that onto the fruit in a way that I like. I'm going to take you through the process of doing that one and then real quickly go over some options for numbers 2 and 3. The main thing that we're going to be focused on is making sure that the resolutions, the quality of the images we're using are good enough so we could possibly print these if we wanted to. You are going to find at least 3, you can do more, high quality images that you're going to pull apart and save just a piece of their face or a piece of their body. So maybe you wanted to add arms or legs. It's going to be a lot easier to blend and use the eraser tool if the images are of high quality to begin with. You can type in your celebrity or whatever the human is that you want to get a piece of, and next to it type 4K, because those are going to be the largest images. 4K TVs, the resolution is almost 4,000, so really huge. And the other thing that we want to make sure here, and I click tools and I go over to size and I click larger than 4 megapixels, 4 MP, because that'll make sure that we only have really big images. If you can't find anything you like, or the person you're searching for is a little less famous, you might bump it down to 2 MP. Okay, so when we're searching for an image, the things we want to look out for is that there's a really interesting aspect. Remember, it doesn't need to be PNG because you're going to use the selection tool to pull it out. So you can kind of click through, make sure that, so see how it's low quality? We want to make sure that we let it load. When working with 4K images, they can take a while to load sometimes. So wait till it loads and the image looks high quality before you save. The image that I chose was this one because I thought his mouth was pretty interesting, kind of funny in this photo. Then I'm going to right click and save image as. And where we want to do, we're going to make sure that we're in My Drive, 0CS Studio, and we're going to create a new folder and call it 7-Emo Food. And when we're going there, add their name and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, depending. So just make sure that you don't name it the same thing because you'll delete the old save if it's named the same thing. When you have saved at least 3 different images that are very high quality that we're going to pull apart to get their pieces, then we are ready to move into Pixlr. So let's go into Pixlr and we're going to go to open image, and I'm going to open up the high quality image that I saved. I can go full screen and I'm going to zoom into just the area that I want. So I'm going to go over to the selection tool and then I'm going to go around the area that I want to cut out. I wanted to use his mouth, so I'm going to go around right there, and I'm gonna Control C to copy, or I could do edit copy and then edit paste, Control V. So that'll give me just his mouth. Now what I'm gonna do is unlock the background and I'm just gonna right click and delete it. All I have is the mouth. Now what I'm gonna do is come over here to the crop tool on the top left. I'm gonna select that area, left click and drag down, and then I'm gonna hit enter. And it's going to get rid of all the extra. If I wanted to erase down, if I want to make it just the mouth, then I go over to the eraser tool. I can come around here and slowly erase. When you've got the image as you like it, you can crop again, and then you're going to go to File, Save, and you're going to save as a PNG. And you're going to leave it as their name and then write a description of whatever it is. I'm going to say mouth PNG. And save. Now what you want to do is repeat this 2 more times, at least 2 more times for the other 2 images that you have. You want to isolate the piece of the image that you're going to use for your Emo Foods image, and you're going to select it, you're going to cut it, you're going to paste it, you're going to delete the old layer, and then you're going to prep it and save it as a PNG. So what we want to do now is click Create New Image, And we are going to make it, like I said earlier, the resolution of Instagram. It's a good standard, normal HD, 1080 by 1080. Make sure you click transparent. Once we do that, we want to go up to layer, open images layer. I'm going to do edit free transform, and we want to hold down shift as we scale it, and we want to try to fill up the space as much as possible. What I'm going to do is go to layer, open images layer, and I'm going to find my mouth PNG. I'm going to do my edit free transform to kind of position it generally where I want. Now what I want to do, go to adjustment, and I want to go to color balance. Using the color balance, I can add some reds or some pinks. I think that if I had it a little more pink, that might look a little bit better. Those colors are matching pretty good, and I like that. I am going to do some final adjustments. So I'm going to go to edit free distort. And then the last thing that I'm going to do, I may add a glow or an outer glow. So I'm going to click outer glow after I click layer style. Then click on the text. And I'm going to change the color. If you click on the color box, you'll be able to pick colors that are close to the image. And I'm going to select that, and I'm going to kind of mess around with this. So see how that glow is coming in. So sometimes if I put a little bit of a glow on it and I make it really soft, the softer I make it, the more subtle it'll be. So you want it at least one. Of course, that fades the color in around it. Looks solid. I like it. Click OK. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat that. So I can duplicate that layer and move it around to where I want. And do an edit free transform. And whenever you finish, so you just want to kind of put as much work and detail into making the mouths or mouths look as interesting as possible. And then when you are happy with your image, what we want to do is to go to File, Save. We want to save it as a PXD. Make sure we always save as our project file. So it'll be Emo Food 1 PXD. I'll click Save, and I'll save that. And then I'm going to go to File, Save, and I'm going to save it as a PNG. I'll change that to PNG, because that's going to be the photo or image that we're going to work with. Once you have one of those images finished as a PNG, you want to move on to your next two. And I'm going to use this as an example because I use multiple pieces of a face for this one. So what I want to do is I'm going to file, open up image. And what I had used was I found this image. It was a National Geographic image that was pretty famous for this girl because her eyes were like super intense, right? So what I'm going to do is use the lasso tool, and I'm going to hold down shift. Remember, if you're holding down shift, you can select multiple things. And I'm selecting that. I'm going over here and selecting that. The other eye, and then I'm going here and selecting the lips. What I'm going to do now is Control C, Control V, copy paste. I'm going to delete the background just like I did before, and then I'm going to crop out. Now I'm going to save as a PNG, and I'm going to save that as eyes PNG, and I'm going to make sure that I'm saving it to my Emo Foods folder. Now the difference is that there are 4 different layers. So the 2 eyes are on a different layer than the mouth. Then I'm going to go to layer, open images layer, and I'm going to bring in that face that I got. Here's how we can separate out these pieces so we can treat them individually. Right now they're on the same layer, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click duplicate. So now I have 3 layers. What I'm going to do is grab an eraser tool. I'm going to set it up to about 200, make sure the hardness is up all the way. And what I'm going to do is I just want the left eye on this layer. So I'm just going to erase the eye and the mouth. Then I'm going to go down to the bottom layer and erase the left eye and the mouth. And then I'm going to go to the layer under that and erase both eyes. So now I have 3 layers. By duplicating and erasing, I've given myself a lot more control to manipulate that image. By duplicating them and then erasing away the parts you don't want, you can separate those images very quickly. It gives you a lot more control. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go over to my eraser tool, and I'm going to maybe, it depends on how big your image is for the size that you set it. But the main thing is that we want our hardness down to 0, and we can take our opacity down a little bit too. So I'm on the mouth layer. So to blend in this mouth, what I'd want to do is I'm going to just come in around the sides here, and I'm going to, you can hold or you can click to erase down, but I want to get rid of all the lines to start. And I'm going to zoom out. I can also go to my adjustment layer and do my color balance, because maybe I want to make it a bit more orange. And now I'm going to do the eyes. When you are finished with your image and it's got some human aspects to it and you like it, then you can save it, and we're going to save that. Remember, save first as a PXD. So this is Emo Food 2 PXD. Then you go back and you save again. You save as a PNG. Just make sure you change that to PNG. Now what we need to do to finish is we are going to finalize our 3 Emo Foods, and then we are going to put them all together on a turn in. So what we want to do is create new image, and we are, if you look up here, we're going to use this number 1240 by 1754, and that's going to be the resolution of paper at 150 dots per inch, which means that we could print it in a pretty high quality. So I'm going to click OK, and then what I'm going to do is do layer, open images layer, and I'm going to bring in my finished food. Then I'm going to click to the layer underneath, layer 0, and I'm going to do either a solid color or a gradient. If I click on the gradient, remember I could change the color, and then if I wanted to do my gradient in the back. When I am happy with my image, I'm going to go File, Save. I'm going to switch over to PNG, and I'm going to name it Emo Food 3 Final, and I'm going to save. Once you have all 3 of your Emo Foods with their background, we are going to put them all together and get them turned in. How we're going to do that is we are going to create new image, and if you look up top here, we are going to do 3800 by 1800. And that's going to give us enough size to put everything in. So I'm just going to go layer, open image as layer. Going to grab my one food, and that's going to automatically center for that one. I'm going to go to layer, open image as layer. I'm going to grab my second one. And what I can do is I'm going to click the move tool. I'm going to move it over to the left here, and I just want to try to eyeball it as close as possible. And then once you have your layer selected, if you tap the arrow keys, notice it's going to let me do a kind of micro adjustment. If you want to go crazy and make sure that you are being completely accurate, you can zoom in just like I did to make sure that you're being pixel perfect. So I'm going to zoom out, and then I'm going to do it with my third image. I'm going to do new, grab my pizza, move it over here. And I think that actually looks pretty solid. When I've got all 3 of my Emo Foods represented, I'm ready to save my turn in. If you want to change the background color, you can. So you could always go back and click it black or something like that. And then I'm going to go to File, Save, and I'm going to save this as a JPEG at 100%. And I'm going to do Emo Foods Final, because that's all 3. Emo Foods Final. I'm going to click OK. And that is what you're going to attach to your Google Classroom. And I'm excited to see all the Emo Foods you're going to make. Have a great day, everybody.